So the one thing about the timeline is it actually doesn't look that great. It's the tracks are just too skinny. We can't see them all that well, and we want to make them fatter so we can see them much better. And there are a couple of ways of doing that. We can just sort of do it manually. You can go to the edge of any one of these and you can pull on it and make it a little bit bigger. But you can also use the command or control button. So if you, on Mac it's command, on PC it's control. If you do command plus, there's a plus sign just to the left of the delete key. Go command or control plus, kaboom, kaboom. You make the video tracks bigger. And if you do option plus, you make the audio tracks bigger. And you can also use minus the same way. Option minus makes, or command control minus makes them smaller. Good. All right. Now that we've done that, I want you to highlight the first clip that we dragged in there. It's the whole clip. We don't need all of that. And after you highlight it so it gets a white border, hit the delete key on your computer and we'll get ready for 3-point editing. And what that generally means is that we're either going to have 2 points on the source panel and 1 on the timeline, or 1 on the source panel and 2 on the timeline, but not 4 points, not 2 and 2. I'll explain more about that in a moment. So let's go back to look at the script, and it's now giving us information right here in the left side column as to the length of the first shot. We know that the first shot's going to be on clip 45. It's going to start on the clip a little before 25 seconds in, but it tells us the shot's going to last 8 seconds, from 0 to 8 on the timeline. So highlighting the timeline, I click on it, gives me a little blue rectangle around it. I bring this thing, the playhead, all the way to 0, and to make an endpoint, I hit the I key. I is an igloo. I is for endpoint, and then I'm going to move it up 8 seconds. How do I know? Because there's a counter right here, and I'm going up until I get to 8. Yeah, just get close. Don't get too worried about being exact. And hit O for out point. So I see an I for endpoint and O for out point on the timeline. Now I'm going to click in the source panel. I happen to be on the right clip, but if I went to a different clip, I would change it. There you go. And now if I go back to this clip, clip 45 is the one I want to be on. It's saying I want to be about 25-ish seconds in, just before the shot starts to pull out. So I'm going to get close to 25. This is where the counter is. I hit I for endpoint, yummy, and then I'm ready to make the edit. How do I do that? Well, we're going to do what are called overwrite edits, and you can click right here in the lower part of the source panel and just click on that, and that'll do the edit. But there's a shortcut, which is really nice. It's just hit the period button, the period key on your keyboard, and when you have an endpoint on the source panel and an in and out point on the timeline, you're ready to go. Except for one thing, you want to make sure you're targeting your tracks. See right here, I can click on the left side here of the track and it'll say, which track do you want to put anything on? Well, I want to put my main video on V1, and this is just Nat sound video on this. I want to put that on A2, not A1, but A2. All right, so I'm targeted, I've got my endpoints, I'm about to hit the period button, and boom, there it goes. And I can adjust the look of how my timeline looks with this roll bar at the bottom of the timeline. Oopsie. And that will allow me to see things as long or short as I like. Let's say you made some kind of mistake, or you want to undo whatever the last thing you did was. Then there is a shortcut for that. If you go to your practice edit sheet, here it is, you go to the back of it, there are shortcut keys on it. Look at the second one. It says Command Z or Control Z on PC equals undo. So if you're on a Mac, it's Command Z. If you're on a PC, it's Control Z. And then Shift Command Z for redo, or Shift Control Z on a PC means redo. Let's try that. So I'm highlighted in my timeline. I hit Command Z, whoop, it's gone. I undid it. And if I hit Shift Command Z or Shift Control Z on a PC, it comes back. How cool. Let's find out what our next shot is by looking at the script. And it's calling for a shot from 08 to 13. Let's make it 14 on clip 21, starting at around 14 seconds in. All right, thank you. Let's go to clip 21. There it is. I want to go to the timeline and give myself an in cue at around 8. I can use the little arrow keys to get close to 8. Give myself an in. I want to do it on video, not on black. I want to start my in cue on video. And then I'm going to go up to, let's say, 14-ish seconds. Pretty close. There you go, 14. I is for in, O is for out. Go to the source panel, click on that. I want to go about 14 seconds in, just before it tilts up. Okay, looks pretty good. I is for endpoint there. And when I've got 3 points, an endpoint on the source, in and out on the timeline, and I'm targeted in this case to V1 and A2, hit the period key and voila. I want to digress for just a sec here to show what will happen if you put in 4 points. In other words, you put in 2 points on the source panel and 2 points on the timeline. Let's find out. I'm going to hit Command Z to get rid of my last edit. All right, so I've got an in point and out point here. I still have an endpoint on the source panel. Let me just go up a little bit and add another out point. Okay, now I've got 2 here and 2 here. I'm gonna hit the period key and see what happens. Uh-oh, gives me a little fit clip message, and it says the source is shorter than the destination, and it's given me a number of options, including changing the speed of the clip so it will fit or to ignore my instructions. I'm going to hit cancel on that. And the point here is that when you put in 4 points, Premiere is going to say, what do you want me to do? It doesn't fit. You want me to change the speed? Stuff like that. So you may want to get rid of one of your in or out points. There's a shortcut for that. Oops, wrong document. Let's go to the shortcut keys. And if you look here, Alt Option I on Macs, they're the same thing, Alt or Option, or Control Shift I on a PC, Option O on a Mac, or Control Shift O. That's a way to get rid of an in or an out point. So I'll try that. I'm going to go highlight on the source panel. I'm hitting Option O. Oops, it's gone. I got rid of it. And that gets me back to 3 points. I can hit the period key now, and I'm back to where I was, and there isn't an issue. Let's go back to the script for the next shot, which is our third. It says it's on clip 40, and it's going from 14 to 19 seconds. All right, so it's going to be clip 40, this shot right here, and I'm going to give myself an endpoint at right around 14-ish seconds on video and go up to 19. So the script told me. There you go, I'm pretty close, good. And I've got that in and out point on the timeline. All right, so in this shot, clip 40, I'm going to suggest that you go about 18 seconds-ish in, just as that woman who looks strangely like my wife going to see her in-laws, or my parents, her parents, never mind. And I'm going to give you an endpoint right there, and with an endpoint on the source and an in and out point on the timeline, you can hit the period key and boom, that's in. Again, targeted to V1 and A2. Let's go to the next shot. We're on a roll. Next shot is going to be on clip 18, and it's going to go from 19 to 27 seconds. All right. So let's minimize that. Let's find clip 18, which is of this bird. Gotcha. And let's go from 19-ish and go all the way up to about 27. See it right there? Yep. And give myself an out. This shot of this bird, you might be at the very beginning of the clip when you pull it up, and it's asking me to go 1 minute and 18 seconds deep into this clip of a bird called a limpkin, because the bird's head is underwater for so much of the damn time. So go 1:18-ish, or maybe 1:16. I like that better. And just as it's about to take its head out, that's a good endpoint. And with an endpoint on the source and an out point on the timeline targeted to V1 and A2, hit the period key, and boom, that guy is in there. By the way, this might be a good time, now that you have the 4 shots that represent your lead up to the soundbite, this might be a good time for you to just check your work and read the script and see if it matches your pace of reading to the amount of video you have. And if it's not, like you want to extend a shot, you can do that, or you can pull a shot forward and pull another one forward, and you can make adjustments so that the timing is correct. I'm going to use Command Z as a way to get things back to the way they were. Good. And now we're ready for a soundbite. To get to that soundbite, let's take a look at what the script says. And it says the bite is from Jane Brandhorst. It gives us all her name information. That's on clip 9 at 4:31 into the clip. And it says exactly what the soundbite says. What a good script. And what she's going to say is, people come out here sometimes that aren't birders just to experience this beauty. It's just a little diamond in the middle of the city. So we've got to find that clip and get in and out points exactly around it. Let's go to clip 9, and there's Jane. Doesn't she look nice? And we're going to go all the way to 4:31. My Lord. Actually, we're going to go a little bit before 4:31. And we're going to play, and we're trying to get to just before she says, people come out here. So I'm going to play it.
The North South.
Well, it's just
And she says this little phrase, well, it's just and after she says, well, it's just hit the I key, and then she's going to start her soundbite.
people come out here sometimes that aren't birders just to experience this beauty. It's just a little diamond in the middle of a city.
And hit the space bar. It's a way to pause to get to your out point, and then give yourself an O for out point for the end of her soundbite. And you'll note now we're going to be doing things just a little differently now. Instead of having 2 points on the timeline, we're having 2 points on the source panel and just 1 point on the timeline. Now click on the timeline, and we are going to move our playhead to 27 seconds on video on the Lemkin. You know, if you just leave the playhead in any spot, that serves as a natural endpoint, just so you know. But I'll add an endpoint just for grins here and put that in the timeline. And we're going to target this differently. We want our sound bite not on the Nat Sound channel, but on A1. So instead of here, I want it there on A1. Good. I've got a in cue and out cue on the source panel. I've got an in on the timeline, and I'm ready to hit the period key and bring Jane in. There she is. I'm going to backtrack for a second here to show you something. I'm going to hit Command Z to make Jane's bite disappear. And let's just say that you forgot to target her to A1, and you put her on A2 by mistake. So you hit the period key and she's on the same, her sound is on the same track as the Nat sound channel. Just highlight the clip and you can just push her sound into another track by pulling them up and down. It's really no big deal. But targeting is a more effective way to do that. Let's get back to the script and look at what it's asking us to do, which is to add a short shot from clip 11 for about 4 seconds. So let's go to clip 11, this guy with a huge telephoto. There he is. It's asking me to edit from about 36 to 40. 40 seconds is what the script called for. That's all right. So I've been in and out there. I'm going to put an end point. If I play this shot, it's going to take a moment to just settle. So go a second or two in after the short pan stops, and I'll give myself an end point there. This is pretty easy peasy. I'm targeting this to V1 and A2. Hit the period key. There it is. So we've got one more shot to put into this thing, and the script will tell us that it is on clip 35, and it's from 40 to 50 seconds. That's a little more video than we actually need, but it's good to have some video pad on a VOSOT. So let's find that. It's clip 35, and this is going to be a scene with some eagles. Taking it easy. Not those eagles, these are real eagles. So let's go from on the timeline and we'll put in our in and out cue at 40-ish. Give myself an in there, go all the way up to about 50 and give myself an O for out point. Very good. And the endpoint on the source panel is going to be when a younger eagle, there is that eaglet with a dark head, starts to swoop in just above the head of the older eagle with the white head. That's going to be like around 101. Give yourself an endpoint there. And when you have an endpoint on the source and in and out on the timeline and you're targeted to V1 and A2, you can hit the period key and boom, it's in. So the good news is your shot is in. The bad news is it's very, very far away, and we could do something kind of cool here so people can see it better. We can crop the shot. How do you do that? All right, well, that's my dog barking. We'll find out in a second. So the answer, now that my dog has become quiet, is to highlight that clip. I click on the clip so I get that white border on it. And that means, okay, I'm telling Premiere, I want to work with this guy. Okay, I've highlighted the clip. And now I'm going to go into the source panel area and look for a tab called Effect Controls. You probably, when you hit it, you won't see all that stuff. You might just see stuff like that says motion at the top. By the way, make sure you keep your playhead over the eagles somewhere so that we have that in the program panel. If you click on Effect Controls and you look for the word motion, there's going to be a little left arrow that I want you to click on so it goes downward. And then you see more things like position, scale, rotation, and a bunch of blue numbers. This is going to allow us to be able to crop the shot. If you go to the blue area next to the word scale, where it says 100, and you hold down with your mouse and kind of press and drag over it so that the numbers, as you do that, go up, you can make the shot tighter. You don't want to make it too tight because there's a little bit of jostling in this deep zoom, which means that we need to not get in too close or we're going to lose it. Then you can also crop from position. On the left side is the X position, which goes side to side, but we really don't need to mess with that. But on the right side, we want to change that number to probably like around 720 or so. Let's see if I'm about right. Yeah, go down a little bit. And let's play the clip with my adjustments to see if I got it pretty good. You have to play with it a little bit. See, it jostles around a little bit, but it's not bad. You don't want it to go too far out of the shot. And remember, we're probably going to be done with the Vaussat by about this point anyway. So what I did was probably pretty good. I'm adjusting the scale and I'm adjusting the up and down or Y position so that I can crop the shot and we can see those birds moving along and changing position much better than we could before.